Good afternoon, y'all. This is the Earpath Green. Happy Saturday. Happy start to the weekend. I really hope that it's off to a good start. Over here, it's been a little bit hectic. We have been having some complications with the matriarch in our family, and I've been really worried about that. That's been a lot. That alongside, just how the world is spiraling collectively right now, and just watching humanity rip each other apart, and watching people who I was once close to even lose their own sense of humanity in certain circumstances, and it's just kind of been a really wild week, to say the least, and I hope it's just been really chill for y'all, and I just know that the world is in severe need of a good restart, and I know we cannot get there until the faulty foundations are crumbled and broken down. It feels like a lot, and I feel like a lot of us, I may be projecting when I say this, but I feel like a lot of us are feeling the weight of the world on our shoulders right now, and seeing the way our brothers and sisters are suffering is terrifying. Thinking of how women and children and our people are being kept in cages. Thinking about how some of them are even going missing. 15-year-old boys are, being put into the men's facilities and, being treated terribly. The women are they're going missing too. So, I don't know. It's just a lot to handle right now. And to see how many people are losing their humanity, and how this major lack of empathy is just, and this cruelty is normalized. It's becoming a lot, at least, for me. But I do feel like I'm speaking for the collective, because it is a lot, I don't really talk about, my genetic makeup or anything of that nature. Typically, I don't think I've ever brought it up. I am a quarter Mexican and a quarter Puerto Rican and half Caucasian, and that is just, my dad always says a bunch of different things, primarily German and Irish, but he just, I don't know. I'm not going to do a 23andMe, because I honestly don't have the energy for all of that, and don't really care to know all of that. But I'm worried about my brothers and my sisters out there who are going missing, who are being dehumanized and demonized consistently. I just feel that maybe it's not just the systems, and I feel like, humanity needs a reality check, and that's that. Yeah, yeah, things just feel really heavy right now, and maybe it is just me and, you know, me projecting and everything, but it's scary. It's scary seeing the raids and, you know, it's scary seeing all of these people being torn away from their families. All I can really say is that I really am proud of y'all for doing the inner work and having the gall to face not only yourselves but your shadows, and to do the inner work that is necessary in order to understand the nuance that is needed during times like these. To also understand the gravity of situations in times like these. So thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Okay. Please know that this message is timeless. Whenever you stumble upon it is when it was meant to find you. Okay, so it could also apply to your past, your future, or your present. Just put it where it fits, but please do not try to make it fit if it doesn't, and just let it sit and let it marinate for those who want it. Okay? If it has nothing to do with you, just leave it. Just let it be. She could be a he, or he could be a she. They could be a they, but they could also be a she. What I mean by that is, if I pull a King of Swords, I could be talking about your Aunt Marjorie, or your Uncle Frank, or your Grandpa Bob. I don't fucking know, okay? One of those people. The angel numbers we have today are 555, and that's primarily going to be focused on those 4 changes and new beginnings that we've been talking about that are coming forth in September. We also have 1111, which I've seen probably about 3 times this week, as well as 111. So for 1111, I feel like that's for the couples, but for 111, I feel like that's in terms of friendship or some sort of new beginning with a family member, individuals of that nature. I am going to be grouping those numbers though, as in 1111 and 111 will be analyzed together rather than separately. Okay, so for 555, we know that 5 is related to Mercury. So the domiciles are Gemini and Virgo. And then for the detriment, we have Sagittarius and Pisces. As for the exalt, we have Virgo. And for fall, we have Pisces. Okay? So, I feel like there is energy of an investigation. Okay? You may be grilled or cross-examined in regards to, I feel like it's a past authority figure. So a boss, a landlord, you know, maybe a doctor, a lawyer. I feel like it is definitely someone who you may have been financially tied to. Just explain what happened, okay? Just answer the questions to the best of your ability. If you need an attorney, get an attorney, but just tell the truth. The individual who is asking you these questions is literally only asking to get a better understanding and to figure out how to proceed with this particular situation. Okay, so like, you're not in trouble. Okay, I feel like some of y'all just kind of feel like this feeling of trouble. What is that song? I have trouble coming. I have trouble coming. I think that's by... Who is that by? Over and over. It doesn't matter. I just feel like y'all feel like you are in trouble. Like, there's this energy of like, you're in trouble, and that is why you're essentially being grilled right now. No, I promise you, you are not in trouble. They just need some answers, and the answers that you need are coming as well. Okay? Just know right now you are being heavily watched. And yes, your character is being tested. Okay? A lot of eyes are on you right now, especially if this is a work environment, especially if, you know, this is a court case or a healthcare environment, you know, with like safeguards in place such as PHI, security, HIPAA. You are being heavily watched, my friend. Just tell the truth. I feel like this is a pretty big investigation. I also feel like with the aftermath of Mercury being in retrograde and the possibility of any spiritual warfare, especially, you know, psychic attacks and, you know, things of that nature, I feel like most of that would have been conducted during the last full moon. So maybe pay attention to the moon cycles, your menstrual cycle, and any symptoms associated with both of these. Okay? For some of you, I heard that you may have, premenstrual dysphoria, PMDD. I don't know much about that, but if you do feel like you have something of that nature, it would be a great idea to talk to your doctor about it. You know, as far as I know, it seems like symptoms for that would be like incredibly severe mood swings, irritability, episodes that are close to, you know, one would may even say mania. So definitely please talk to your doctor or talk to your therapist if you feel like you are having those sort of symptoms. But definitely pay attention to the moon cycles as well as your menstrual cycle and any symptoms associated with both. If you're anything like me, you probably like to keep track of your menstrual cycle. And I feel like a great app for that, it's literally just called My Calendar. And I use that to track my cycles, not just for, you know, menstruation, but for ovulation, things of that nature. And you can make notes on each day. You could put down symptoms. You could put down just like little journal entries essentially for each day of your period and the days surrounding your period, if that makes it any better for you. Let's see. I feel like understanding these symptoms, it could possibly aid you in also understanding what could be sent your way and when. Okay? So, spiritual warfare, in essence, is a very touchy topic because many can, you know, feel a bit I don't know. I feel like people are scared of the topic. Not only that, I just feel like there is like a lot of individuals who do still, you know, need to do the inner work, and it could be easily misconstrued with like some sort of inner symptom that is being ignored, that has nothing to do with outer attacks, if that makes sense. It's sometimes it is something that's on the inside and needs to be worked on. Okay, but if you truly feel like there is some sort of spiritual warfare, and you know, you are like, for the most part, mentally stable, but you just have that one coworker or that one boss or that one, I don't know, ex-friend or ex-counterpart, ex-partner, whatever you'd like to call them. I understand that, you know, sometimes we do link up with other spiritual individuals, and I also understand that not everybody has the best intentions. I'm not friends with her anymore, but I did, you know of a girl who, again, I was friends with, but I was friends with a girl who told me in confidence that she, whenever she would link up with her ex, and you know, it'd be during one of their mini breakups, whenever she'd link up with her ex and they'd, you know, fornicate and then, you know, maybe take a nap after, while he'd be sleeping, she would whisper curses into his ear. So it's like, well, you may be just over here doing your own thing. Not everybody has the best of intentions, and this isn't necessarily to say that you should assume the worst of everybody, but at the same time, I feel like you are such a sweetheart, and this could even be aimed at your counterpart too, but at the same time, I feel like you are just such a sweetheart that you don't want to think that, you know, maybe people are trying to send you those sorts of things, and you do try to see the best in everyone and give people the benefit of the doubt. And I adore this about you, but we also have to assume, just like we're assuming that people don't have bad intentions, we can't assume that they have the best intentions for us unless they, you know, show that to us through their actions. And if you see someone cursing and hexing other people, just like with gossip, I'm not going to lie, people are probably, you know, cursing and hexing you too if that's in your inner circle. I even see it in, like, you know, a lot of the groups I'm in, so like Facebook groups, Instagram pages, like, it's trending to curse and jar and hex people right now. So all I'm saying is, I'm not necessarily trying to fearmonger, but if you do feel like maybe I should take a spiritual bath and see if that helps, you know, and it helps, cool. If not, you know, maybe it is something on the inside, and, like, you know, talk to your doctor or talk to your therapist, see what's going on there. If you really do feel like it is spiritual warfare, you know, go about protecting yourself and maybe offer some protection to your counterpart too, if they live with you or if they're, you know, in association with you and this other individual or other people, this group, this coven, whatever. Okay? Just get that little bit of extra protection in. I do also want to say, like, going back to the cross-examination or the interrogation in terms of these investigations and the ongoings proceeding, you are not the only one who was affected by this individual or this group, okay? So you may be surprised how many people have had problems with this particular group or person. And things are going to kind of unravel as you learn more. And you'll understand the lore, and you might be, because I feel like you detached right at the right time, because things could have gotten a lot worse. Like, you have that energy of, like, you know, someone who knows exactly when it's time to go. You know, you read the room and you acted accordingly. You cut the cord as soon as you realized this person did not have the best intentions. This group did not have the best intentions. Nonetheless, do your best not to stress right now. I know that many of you, especially right now, given the times with the, you know, economy, with, you know, having children, figuring out everything with that, you know, the 9 to 5 on top of that, or your own business on top of that, or even school on top of that, or multiple jobs on top of that. There is a lot going on. And I know that it is hard for a lot of you to make something nutritional right now. But please do not beat yourself up over it. You know, if all you have is, you know, hamburger helper, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe think about what you can do to make it more nutrient dense, like adding spinach or bell pepper, onion, tomato, garlic, basil, sage, rosemary, thyme, etc. Or have a salad on the side if you have that. When it comes to having a healthy relationship with food, I think the most important part would be to get rid of any food shaming and learning that the goal shouldn't necessarily be to consume quote-unquote less bad food, but rather understanding that in technicality, there's not necessarily such thing as a bad food. And this is kind of like, you know, at the almond moms, but there's not really such thing as bad food. I think the goal should be to add on what you can to meet your nutritional goals. And while I will make note, especially in this economy, while yes, organic is slightly better quality, to burst the bubble, it really is kind of a marketing gimmick to shame you into spending more. P.S. Please don't drink raw milk. You will get E. coli. But yes, please try to meet your nutrient goals, even if it's through a frickin' can of Progresso chicken and stars soup, or a Stouffer's meal, or even a healthy choice TV dinner. But, you know, some veggies, some fruits, you know, green shots, experimenting with juicing and smoothies. Just be gentle on yourself as you do this, and, you know, do your best to meet those nutritional values without shaming yourself, please. And another reminder, the sugar in the fruit is natural. Okay? If you're diabetic, you know to tweak your diet. Okay? If you have high blood pressure, again, you know to tweak your diet. Sugar in fruit is natural. I'm looking at you, almond moms. Let's all just be nice and let people eat. I had gotten that y'all could be changing up your workout routine. You're either adding something new with examples such as kettlebells, maybe you're doing bridges, maybe some of y'all are doing yoga, you're incorporating breath work, maybe medicine balls, etc. Or you could even be removing something. But I definitely feel like y'all are changing up your workout routine a little bit. P.S. though, if you are a feminine, your partner or your gym crush, whoever this is, I just got this energy and I got some goosebumps. They love your workout attire, like your leggings, your shorts, your track suits, whatever shows off those calves. They love it. Okay. Just a quick little reminder, September is right around the corner and your career is changing for the better. Okay, so again, that relocation is still possible. Okay, there could be a raise, there could be a promotion. You could be getting a new job altogether. You might be getting some back pay, okay? But definitely a financial leap here, friends. Some of you might even be walking away from a job because you found something that suits your needs. Something better, okay? Everything is working out and everything will be okay. I feel like y'all may receive some news about an authority figure from the past who treated you like a friend but then became more like a frenemy. You are going to hear some very, very hefty news about them. You know, some skeletons are coming out of the closet. No, they treated everyone the way they treated you. Okay? This person could have quite possibly had an addiction to something. You'll know if that's for you, but please don't take that behavior that was, projected onto you personally, because they are treating everybody like that. I know it hurts, and that's not an excuse. Like them hurting is not an excuse for what they did. But I am really proud of you for getting out of that environment, if that's what it took, or cutting the cord with this individual and doing what was best for you and working through it rather than letting yourself get enmeshed with it. With that, I do want to say this. You have certain needs that you haven't been communicating lately. Please communicate them. Not everybody can read minds, okay? And, well, I kind of feel like everybody, honestly, has some sort of gift. But, some of us choose to be untapped and filtered, and that's okay. That's totally okay. But please communicate those needs. Anyway, going back to that other thing. Despite the news that you will be getting about that individual or that group, despite it being brought forth and this unexpected ending, don't be expecting this to be the last that you hear about it. In fact, you may even be compensated financially due to this unexpected ending within a year. So be on the lookout. I feel like a pretty penny is in it for you. Okay, going on to 111 meshed with 1111. For this, I broke this down into 1 as well as 10. Okay, so for number 1, we know that's related to the sun. So we have Leo domicile, Aquarius detriment, Aries exalt, and Libra fall. As for 10, we know that is related and governed by Pluto. So Scorpio domicile, Taurus detriment, Aries exalt, and Libra fall. Ooh, my goodness. Excuse me, I needed a drink of my water. Okay. Again, I feel like we are just feeling the reverbs and the repercussions of Mercury in retrograde, along with the Lionsgate portal that just shut, okay? We also have to remember that even though we were manifesting with good intent during the Lionsgate portal, not everybody had the best intent during the Lionsgate portal with their manifestations, their materializations, whatever the fuck they want to call them. Not everybody has the best intent with their plans. Just be careful. Through November, through January, expect to encounter 2 types of soulmates. One is going to be romantic if you have not already encountered a romantic partner, okay? If you have, y'all are getting a new beginning, and that relationship is getting a refresh, a dramatic makeover that it severely needed. The other soulmate is going to be of the platonic sort. Now, if y'all are already in a union or a romantic bond, again, just expect a renewal of some sort or a big shift during the months of November through January. During that time period, if you were not feeling secure enough to properly navigate those areas, you will encounter some situations that might trigger something old within you. A fear, a habit, a reaction, some sort of self-sabotage. I promise you, especially because I feel like y'all are going to be very mindful and catch yourself in that self-sabotage, okay? But you are going to be so proud of how you handle these situations and how you're able to actually, now see the changes that you've made. Y'all are growing up, emotionally and mentally. You guys are regulating. I hope you guys are so proud of yourselves, because I'm really proud of you, and the divine are proud of you. I also channeled, excuse me, this show that I've been watching it's on Amazon Prime, by the way, but it's called The Dinner Table Detective. It's essentially, the plot is like this, okay? So, she is a detective by day, but she's also an heiress socialite by night, okay? Her name is Reiko Hosho, and she is a woman leading this extravagant double life as a detective and a socialite. But at the same time, she is aided by a very unlikely companion, who is her butler, Kageyama, who is suspiciously, I say this very, very boldly, suspiciously lethal and sharp as a tack. This fool Kageyama, he's kind of a jerk, but he also, I don't know, something tells me that he might be a little neurospicy. But, anyway, She also stars in this, you know, with Kageyama, but also her partner, another detective, Kazumatsuri. He is very obsessed with himself, and I feel like this is detrimental to the cases, but whatever. It is the butler, Kageyama, who primarily helps her solve these cases. And not only that, like, he regularly calls her out, which she's not used to, especially, like, being an heiress socialite, you know? He regularly calls her out. And I feel like she kind of needed it, you know? I'm not gonna lie. I feel like we all kind of need that, you know? She, being an heiress, is primarily used to words of praise or flattery. Okay. He calls her out, but he also saves her ass quite often. So I don't know. It's almost like a case of like the princess of the pauper, but like in this case, it's like the princess is running away from her identity, and it's the pauper, or the butler, right, in this case, who proves to be not only mysterious, but thoroughly unreadable with many tricks up his sleeve. Like, I got major magician energy and King of Swords energy. So this could either be a new partner in crime for you. So this could totally be that romantic relationship or that platonic relationship. Or this could literally be someone who you are working with to get this case solved, because I feel like this is huge. I feel like the feds might even be involved. I don't even know where that came from. Like, we're kind of going back to... I already took my medicine. But we are kind of like going back to the Crescent City series, right? The House of Earth and Blood with Bryce and Hunt, and they're doing that detective work together too, right? I have not finished the Dinner Table Detective, but something tells me that the heiress and the butler are going to end up together. Or at least, you know, that best friend dynamic in which they can actually talk to each other without worrying about walking on eggshells, in the sense that constructive criticism and calling the other out is welcome. I do want to say this though. Any sort of disagreements that might have felt out of the blue recently, there is a strong possibility that some magic, especially during those full moons, was at play. Again, please only take what resonates. If it doesn't resonate, if you'd rather just, you know, listen to this as like some sort of wild story, please do, because sometimes even I am like, what the fuck am I channeling? Like the feds and shit? Crazy cases? What the fuck? But, nonetheless, I also got, before things get better, they get worse sometimes. In fact, they might even feel like they're just completely crumbling. You know, that major tower energy is prevalent. And then I also feel like the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun are lending their energy to these downloads as well. I feel like not only will you be feeling those aftershocks from Mercury being in retrograde, but you will also feel, again, the reverb of any sort of magic that was done during the Lionsgate portal and during the full moons, okay, especially during that time. If you garden pay attention to any weeds or any invasive species that you did not plant, and maybe research the spiritual meanings behind those particular weeds and invasive species. Some prime examples would be like foxtails, trees of heaven, a lot of Chinese elm trees, things of that nature. However, I do want to say that, like, not all weeds are seen as weeds to plant people. So this might be like a message for someone. Some of us really do see weeds as medicine, such as the mallow plant, right? For instance, with the mallow plant, this is high in mucilage. Mucilage, by the way, is a slimy substance that can be used to aid digestion and inflammation. Mallow leaf, oh, and by the way, you will consume that substance. Mallow leaf can be used for sore throat and dry cough. So this would be through prepared tea or some sort of mouth rinse to gurgle with, a tincture, blah, blah, blah. On top of intestinal regulation and its mild laxative qualities, it can help with some sort of, like say you get a bout of bronchitis, okay, or asthma. It can help with dental abscesses, mouth ulcers, gingivitis, any sort of oral infection really, or even like upper respiratory infections. Also, like due to high flavonoids, mallow also contains vitamin C and vitamin E, which means any sort of acne, eczema, skin care is at the forefront. So I don't know. I just feel like y'all could benefit from mallow. I felt very called to speaking about that because it is typically seen as a weed. But if y'all have studied traditional Chinese medicine, mallow is adored. It's rich in antioxidants, it's anti-inflammatory, through traditional Chinese medicine, it has been used for kidney disorders and to induce milk for nursing mothers. Even the leaves are like kidney shaped, and it's correlated with kidney disorders and helping those. I thought that was interesting. The flowers you typically want to use are the ones that have the pink and purple with the strikingly purple veins. Sometimes you'll see like them in like white and pink, with white petals and then like the pink veins. But I say for like things such as like tinctures or any sort of mouth rinse, or any tea that you're trying to make, the leaves and the flowers from the purple and pink mallow, that's your best bet right there. Those ones are highly potent. I also got the mallow because, again, something that one may identify as a weed, such as the mallow, may be someone else's medicine. I think it's important to have an open mind, and something that works for us might not work for something else or someone else. Or something else, another ailment. But it might not work for someone else, and that's okay. If it works for us, cool. But if it doesn't, just let it be. Another download I got is that, I'm gonna take a sip of my water because I probably could use this too. Y'all need to hydrate. Please hydrate. Hydrate. I know it is hard. We are on the cusp of fall, but it is the edge of summer, and it feels like we are fucking roasting. I get it. I can't even step outside without my hair frizzing and my pits fucking sweating. I turn into a sweaty Betty. I get it. Please hydrate. Please. please, please, please give yourself the TLC and hydrate. And black tea. Drink black tea. Hometown honey. Raw honey. Okay, anyway. Again, another reminder, those 4 new beginnings for September are right around the corner. So, be on the lookout. I also got that some of you might be feeling like sick or unwell, or even like super nauseous, or just this like kind of like unwell feeling. So I wanted to say this. This happens to a lot of us because I feel like a lot of us are experiencing this. When your nervous system is consistently in hypo or hyper arousal, an example, fight, flight, fawn, or freeze responses, the stress hormones that you get from those, the cortisol and such, can make you feel quote-unquote sick. Okay? When your system gets regulated, you will feel a lot better. Even so, some, here may be on the spectrum, some of us may be neurodivergent and experience this often or even daily. It almost feels like it comes with the territory of neurodivergence, unfortunately. IBS, allergy-like symptoms, etc. This could also be why you're tired. This could also be why you feel nauseous. And I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. But our nervous system, when it's regulated, a lot of us will feel a lot better. Final reminder, you are more than likely about to complete your Saturn's return. Or your partner is. I heard it was you versus the big 3. Almost like some bosses. This is more than likely in regards to your finances and career. Maybe school and home, but I feel like you faced 3 different Hierophant-like figures with like authoritative status. Not authoritarian, but authoritative vibes. More than likely like managers, supervisors, again, lawyers, doctors, figures of the church. Just 3 major figures within your circle with whom you've had financial ties expressively. You've passed that major test. The you versus the big 3. You passed that shit. For many of you, this is years in the making. Even so, watch how your finances excuse me. Watch how your finances shift. Again, especially in September. Like, this is going to be huge, guys. Some of you will find this is the year that you can offer unconditional love and have it reciprocated. You are finally feeling safe to love. I feel like on top of this, like your person, whoever you're with, I feel like they are hoping to support you in a way that you have recently supported them. This could be through finances, this could be through grief or some sort of loss in general, but they want to love you through it as you did for them. 13:31 on my clock right now. Mirroring numbers. Whatever the loss is, despite all of the mental preparation that you have been doing, and this is for me as much as it is for you guys, you cannot distract yourself and think your way or intellectualize your way out of it. You cannot close your eyes and forget it's there. but rather we can close our eyes and breathe and figure out where in our body we feel it. I feel like some of y'all have been waking up to stomach problems. You know, like I'm saying, like IBS flares or nausea. I am so sorry, guys. I'm being told to pay attention to your nightmares and dreams. And there are some answers there. I feel like in terms of like the big three, you versus the big three, I imagine you see them in your dreams. Or at least the individuals who you may be having these issues with. I feel like they are there, and I feel like you are consistently having these same issues with them in your dreams. Pay attention to how you feel during these nightmares and dreams in which they are there. Okay, if you haven't already, if in a stable partnership, again, please communicate more. Open up and let them know in what ways you may be struggling. So, I feel like y'all usually hold yourself together really well, okay? But your partner also wants you to feel through what you've got to. New roots could be sprouting right now in this connection as y'all pull through a major loss. They want you to know that they've got your back just like you had theirs. They got your 6 o'clock. I always think of, I don't know if y'all have ever seen Bridesmaids, but Melissa McCarthy, she plays a character named Megan, and she is my absolute favorite in Bridesmaids, next to, I think her name's Tammy. But Megan, she meets this air marshal who, you know, is obviously undercover on the flight toward the bridesmaid party, or what is that called? The bachelorette party. I think they were going to Vegas, and she tells him, you know, I know you're an air marshal, you know, I'm from the CIA, I got your 6 o'clock. And he's like, I'm not an air marshal. What gives you that idea? You're silly. And she's like, I got your 6 o'clock. that's your partner, or you know, your friend right now. They just want to make sure that you know that they have your back, and you know, they're ready to give you the support that you need, just like you gave it to them. I feel like some of y'all definitely need to hear this. Your partner is neurodivergent. They like routine. Okay, they eat the same fucking thing every day for lunch. Believe it or not, they want you. They want you to be part of that routine permanently. Some of you are about to be proposed to, or some of you will be getting married this year. They want to show you that they love you unconditionally. You know, just like in the last reading, I heard again, in sickness and in health. P.S. Maybe some of y'all are neurodivergent too and have been going through burnout, especially in terms of masking, okay? I heard the lyrics from Lana Del Rey's California, okay? And I feel like I've channeled these lyrics before, but again, this is from Lana Del Rey's song California. You don't ever have to be stronger than you really are when you're lying in my arms. I feel like that's your partner to you, okay? And some of you are like, well, what if I don't know? What if I don't know if this is like, you know, someone who I actually want to commit to like that? How I knew is that I realized, you know, my fiance was there for me, and he felt like home, and I wanted to be there for him too. Like, you could be anywhere with them, and no matter what the fucking situation or how crazy or chaotic or what is chucked your way, they make you feel safe and loved and supported. They feel like home. Especially if you've never, like, had that before. I just heard Cinnamon Girl by Lana. I heard, there's things I want to say to you, but I'll just let you live. Like if you hold me without hurting me, you'll be the first who ever did. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm not gonna cry. If you guys found love, I am so excited for you. Oh my gosh. Okay. I also channeled, this is kind of like off, but Don't Call Me Angel again, because we channeled this a couple readings ago. Don't Call Me Angel by Ariana Grande, Lana Del Rey, and Miley Cyrus. Y'all, I feel like this is really important in terms of spirituality. And I feel like y'all are right there. You are not claiming to be this superior heavenly body. You realize you're human, and we're all human, and we all are having this human experience collectively. And we all have gifts, and, you know, we're all interconnected in some shape or form. We're human, and that's beautiful. And, you know, while we can treat each other like heavenly bodies and like gods and goddesses and angels and everything, you know, some of you may like really be those sorts of life forms. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But I feel like most of you, you know, are just kind of in this realm of like, hey, like, please don't put the weight of the world on my shoulders, because I'm not an angel. I'm just here to, you know, have some fucking tea with you, and if we click, we click. If not, then let's dip. But yeah, I also channeled Brighton Beach by Telepop Music, and that's featuring Angela McCluskey. And ironically, that's from their album Angel Milk. So let's drink it in. Let's imbibe Brighton Beach. Brighton Beach Telepop Music. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to read some of the lyrics. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. We were just half friends occupying the light. Sometimes Brighton Beach. Sometimes half awake. I thought we shared this song, till I heard you give the line to another girl with a sparkle in her eyes. Why can't you go find yourself and make me want to know you? Why can't you go find yourself and make me want to know you? Oh, I listen to your stories. I smile when you take a break, but the dark is working overtime. Can you just see me melt? What are we thinking here? Pretending we're so close. Think we're something special. Well, I'm giving up the ghost. I feel like that was channeled due to, I mean, it could be an ex, but I don't really necessarily get that vibe. It could more so like be like family, or someone, again, you were financially tied to. Just put that where it fits. I also channeled Sex is on Fire by Kings of Leon. I'm not going to read the lyrics to that. Y'all can find that on your own. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and get into tarot. I am going to read our mantra. I cloak myself in a chiffon of pink. I ask my spirit guides, ancestors, deities, angels, and Mother Nature ground me in a protective glimmer, so I may think and so that I may shimmer. I am your oracle of the light, your seer in the dark. Please grant me that creative spark and allow me to bask in your divine essence through this confusion and stark. I am you and you are me. Voice through me these messages you wish to speak, and blessed be. Alright, I just got like a wave of like, I feel like y'all are some sort of advocate, and that is definitely appreciated by your angels, your ancestors, your guides, your deities, whoever the divine is to you. Okay, like I feel like you are an advocate for someone. I'm getting children heavily. So if you do advocate for children, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Some of you may even be like advocates for like, you know, DV, SA, things of that nature. And thank you so much for all the work y'all are doing. Some of y'all might be in the health field. Some of y'all could even be in the mental health field. If you're a therapist, a psychologist, a nurse, a doctor, some sort of individual in the science field, welcome, welcome. For those who are new, the spread I am doing is one that we have concocted that is, I guess, somewhat similar to the Celtic cross in the sense that we do have crowning energy at the top, but in the center we have our quote-unquote main energy. And then toward the bottom, we also have our oppressed and suppressed energy. If we need clarifiers, we go about garnering clarifiers, and that'll typically be in the fashion, much like the Celtic cross, of a fan. However, if I just need one card clarified, I may just whip out another deck and clarify that one particular card. Okay. So far we were able to get our crowning thoughts, our crowning energy, and that is Knight of Wands in reverse, Four of Swords, and then 10 of Wands in reverse. Now let's get our main energy. Okay, we got the Tower in reverse, and we got the Hermit in reverse. Yeah, y'all, you do not need to hermit. Please don't go into hiding just because, you know, the world is in shambles right now. Okay, for oppressed and suppressed energy, we have the Five of Cups in reverse, we have the World, and we have the Page of Wands in reverse. For overall energy, we have the Moon, we have the Chariot in reverse, and we have the Knight of Swords. Someone could definitely, like, you know, be having some sort of, like, car issues, and this could have to do with y'all speeding around. That's a message for someone. Okay, if you're speeding around, if you're beating the shit out of your car, because I heard beat like a horse, and y'all shouldn't be beating no horses either. But if you're beating the shit out of your car is, you know, it's not necessarily, with the moon here, a mystery as to why the car is falling apart. Okay. With the Knight of Wands in reverse and the Four of Swords with the 10 of Wands in reverse, I feel like many of you, again, are, you know, kind of referring back to that reading, I want to say a couple months ago, called Bitch Come Get Your Wands. I feel like some of y'all may still be struggling with placing those boundaries and realizing that you do not have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And though it is expected in many areas, you know, you have to say this, in order to fit in. You have to do this in order to fit in. If you don't say this, or do this, or post this, or act like this, then you're a piece of shit, you're an outsider, you're wrong. A lot of us versus them mentality. It's heavy out here. It is heavy out here, okay? With the Hermit in reverse and the Tower in reverse, I feel like, especially because in the Hermit card, you know, she's essentially just closing the laptop. She has her hand over her, like, clasped over her heart, and she just looks like she's done. Like, I feel like in her head, she's saying that is enough internet for today. But we also have the Tower in reverse coupled with it. It's like informational overload, okay? And while it is fine to take breaks, it is also important that we understand what is going on within the world. Confirmation. Well, it is also important to have empathy and nuance. It is also important for individuals to take accountability. I feel like there is some information that is going to be divulged upon you that is going to feel like a heavy burden. But this doesn't necessarily have to be something that you carry on your shoulders all of the time. With the Five of Cups in reverse, the World, and the Page of Wands in reverse, you're not here to save everybody. I think it was Brittany, the Cosmic Intuitive, who had said this. It was either her or Tough Doll Tarot, one of those ladies. But they had said something along the lines of, you're not a fucking vending machine, okay? With the Four of Swords out here, you're allowed to retreat and to take breaks. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to reject the weight of the world falling onto your shoulders. And while it is important to be in the know, again, you're not everyone's savior. While it is important to spread information that needs to be spread, do what you can within your realm of practice, your scope of practice. But at the same time, if you're getting burnt out and you do want to kind of like, you know, take some time to yourself, don't necessarily fully hermit away, because, you know, especially with the Knight of Wands in reverse out here and the Chariot in reverse, and then we have that Knight of Swords. Okay, I feel like there's this like tug and pull of, and the Moon. I feel like there's this tug and pull of fear of missing out and then wanting to go hide under a rock. I feel like you realize that there is a lot going on in the world, but sometimes you wish you could just put the world on pause for a bit and, you know, let it crumble outside and let it stay outside. But that's not necessarily realistic, is it? I think change starts with us making little changes within ourselves and outside of ourselves. You're already doing that. If the world feels like it's too loud and too heavy right now, please, by all means, you know, retreat for a bit. Go take a bath, you know, go on a retreat. Go talk to your therapist. give yourself the respite care that you deserve too. I feel like right now support is heavily needed. And I feel like you do often try to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders by yourself. You're not a vending machine to just throw out everything to everybody on command. You are human. We are human. We also have to understand the scope of our capabilities with the world here. We also have to take a look at the cycles not only within our inner circles, but the patterns that we see outside of us. Worldly patterns. I feel like, especially because, like, you know, the state of the world right now, a lot of individuals, what we're seeing is a lot of anger and a lot of projection. And we are seeing how little inner work people have done within, you know, especially the online community. Especially in spaces such as like Reddit. I'm not on it, but I can only imagine TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all those other fun social media outlets. Like, we see it every day. And, you know, not only that, we are inundated with tons of propaganda. We are continuously, at least this is what my algorithm looks like. I mean, it could be different for everybody, but my algorithm looks like, you know, teddy bears, makeup, politics. Teddy bears, nails, art, disasters going on in the world, patriarchy, stuff like that. And it could very well be because I do focus on those topics, and, you know, we do find advocacy important within the scope of humanity, right? So it is important to stay in the know. But continuous inundation and just having that information shoved down our throats constantly, it can be all-consuming. And that would be hard for any human, whether they're going through something or not, personally, okay? That would be hard for anybody to continuously process, just constant negative information. Again, it is important to stay in the know, but again, please be gentle on yourself and understand your limits, your capabilities, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your needs in the moment. Tend to those. I know the world is loud right now, and it would be much easier to just close the laptop and hide under a rock, but if anything, that just continues supporting the faulty foundation of the tower, right? And that's why it's in reverse here. With the Knight of Wands in reverse, it just leaves us with no changes. With the Four of Swords out here, it leaves us to worry and have anxiety, and she's holding her stomach and her head. So again, like, y'all could be waking up with IBS, nausea. You could be suffering from insomnia right here, or right now, excuse me. And a lot of this is because y'all absorb a lot. Like, I am seeing that, like, your souls are like sponges, and they're sopping up everything right now. You don't have to do that. I think we even talked about it last week in the, not the Umbra Mortis meeting, but, or, excuse me, reading. Not the Umbra Mortis reading, but the one prior to that, right? I believe it was the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. That was like kind of like the star of that particular reading. And circling back to that, we were talking about how one could pick and choose their clientele, especially if, you know, they have, you know, their own business or the like, right? If there's some sort of I-99, 1099 employee or Schedule C employee, not even employee, but tax filer, because they're not an employee at that point. They have their own business, you know, so you can pick and choose your clientele. If for instance, you know, you're in the field of spiritual work and, like, you know, you're giving out readings, like what was aforementioned, you're not here to just churn out a bunch of gobbledygook, you know, while you're exhausted, while you're dealing with your own shit. You're not here to support the whole world. You are allowed to focus on yourself for a bit and do what it is you need to do to recalibrate and recuperate, because I feel like there is a little bit of R&R that is needed. With the Page of Wands in reverse and the Knight of Wands in reverse and the Ten of Wands in reverse, like, and the Knight of Swords and the Chariot in reverse and then the Tower in reverse, like everything just kind of like merging together. And the Moon, you know, the fucking Hermit in reverse, the Tower in reverse, the whole reading, the world. It feels like the world is in shambles, and I know so many of us want things to change. But if we are running on empty, how are we going to be able to fill other cups, my friend? If our cup is empty, how are we going to fill those other cups? And I know, like, with the state of the world, it can seem like there is a lot of, like, negative and, you know, a lot of war and violence and crime, and it can be terrifying, I'm not going to lie, you know? I feel like most of us here have experienced some sort of injustice in this world, you know? Even so, with the Five of Cups in reverse, there are two cups behind her, and she's totally ignoring them. In fact, she's pouring them out. They are upside down. Because we are still really upset about these three cups over here. That we forget there are two extra cups right behind us that could help rejuvenate us and refresh us. Because, my friend, we are parched right now. You have a good vibe, and I think it's time that you do retreat for just a little bit, not a long time. Don't go into full-on hermit mode, but with the Four of Swords out here, give yourself that R&R. And take those two cups behind you that you don't see and fill yourself back up, please. Go take your bath. Go listen to that new album. Go watch that movie. Go listen to those binaural beats. Go talk to your therapist. Talk about your fears, your anxieties, your worries. Put it all out in the open. Now, going back to that investigation, I feel like this isn't you. This is not you. Okay? Somebody's logs are being pulled. Now, in terms of like, the possibility of like text or chat, yeah, it's possible that like if you were, in terms of this investigation, right? If you were in heavy contact with this individual, and again, there were those financial ties, right? Chances are, they are going to need those logs of texts, calls, voicemails, things of that nature. I am getting that this person is being so heavily investigated, though, that their computer, their electronics are being confiscated and looked at. I feel like this person knew that too, and they're sitting in woe is me energy, but they kind of did it to themselves. I feel like this person did fuck over a lot of people. They arrested a lot of chariots, in the sense that they put a halt on a lot of people who had futures, had dreams, had goals, and through their own selfish endeavors, this individual or this group, through their own, selfish endeavors, decided to squander that for others. It is one thing to find peace within actual peace, and it is another to attempt to seek peace through revenge. I feel like that's something that is important for many to think on here. Not just, the individuals that, y'all have been dealing with, right? But I feel like it's important for all of us to really contemplate this too. To maybe see where our shadow is in all of this, and the possibility that the idea of any sort of revenge or anything like that, maybe it's not the best idea. I mean, if one did want to get revenge, like, the consequences that would be bared after going through with it outweigh the feeling of entitlement from the quote-unquote justice one gives themselves through revenge. There is a quote from Dr. Anna Uden, who is a psychologist I have been watching on YouTube. I wanted to state this. This is from her, and it's from her Us Versus Them, The Hidden Dangers of Group Psychology video. Dr. Anna says, "The moment we lose our empathy for innocent victims just because they're on a different side of a conflict than we are, or because they belong to a different identity group than us, we are losing our sense of morality." We're all kind of watching the tower crumble, and there's nothing we can do about it right now. I feel like that big three, or that person or group who's being investigated, I definitely feel like they are feeling the tower. I feel like everyone is feeling the reverbs of Mercury being in retrograde, and the Lionsgate portal, and all of the intentions that were set during that time, whether through spell work, magic, prayer, or even thought.
You probably know this script for business cards, but did you know we print everything you need to brand your business? We print banners and
take some time to yourself. I feel like you could really use it. Go take a bath. Go eat some fruit. Go eat some fucking chocolate. Have a fucking, I don't know, a salad, because you need some veggies and some fruit. You need to hydrate. Everything, you know, even if shit feels like it's fucking crazy right now, we are going to get through it. And I will hold your hand along the way until you get to your therapist's office. I don't know. But we are all going to get through this. I think the important aspect that we remind ourselves of is that we're all human, and violence has never solved anything. Segregating certain groups and, you know, trying to dismantle those groups, you know, unless, like, you know, it's such as those of, like, governmental hierarchy or of that nature who are in charge of us, right? Unless it's those individuals or individuals who are directly causing harm. Just remember, sometimes it's none of our business. And if you see someone causing direct harm, or they are directing harm toward you, then yes, do something about it. But at the same time, we also, again, have to recognize our limitations and our scope of abilities and go from there. You know, we can't be perfect. Again, we are human, and we have to expect other humans to also act human. And I know that these are probably not the answers that you wanted, but the answers that you need are within. Okay, by all that is divine, I will now close and exit this reading. Thank you for illuminating the path and for not retreating. Our session has now come to an end. This advice shall not bend. Please be safe on your path and keep me safe in the aftermath. Blessed be. And so it be like that. I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Later.